Hello and welcome to this special edition of The Big Fight. You know, in a cricket match, there comes that moment halfway through a one-day match when sometimes you are tempted, the batsman is, to try and hit a six right over long on. If it works, great, your run rate starts to move. And that's something what the Prime Minister tried to do this week. It's a big bang measure that he has taken by demonetizing all 500 and 1,000 rupee notes, which effectively means 85% of what was the currency of India is no longer valid. It's not legal tender. It has to be either exchanged or deposited back in the banks. Now, there are strong reasons to believe that this will have major long-term gains, and we will discuss those during the course of this episode of The Big Fight. What are the long-term gains? Are they as big as we think it'll be, or are there some flaws in there somewhere? Equally true, there have been a lot of short-term pain. We've heard the Prime Minister and others in the government saying you have to bite the bullet, you have to take the short-term pain because of what happens. And we're going to be discussing that as well. The question of execution. Could this have been executed better, or is that always something easier said than done? This is, after all, 85% of the currency of the country that has to be changed. And also, the political aspects of all of this, we will touch on that too. Now, this episode, I said it's a special episode because we're going to try and touch in on a range of views from across the spectrum. Experts, politicians, the audience out here, reporters out in the field, all of that is going to be happening. But let me start welcoming our guest, GVL Narasimha Rao, BJP spokesperson. Great to have you with us. Tom Bardakan of the Congress Party is here. MK Venu, founding editor of the Wire.in, has been helping us analyze a lot of this over the week. And let's see if we have some of the answers as we go forward. It's great to have with us here in the studio Rohit Raj Modi, who's the vice president of CREDAI, which is the real estate organization. Real estate perhaps is the one which is most trying to figure out how do we get our heads around this. So it'll be really fascinating to get your views. Sudendra Bhadoria of the Bahujan Samaj Party joining us. The politics of Uttar Pradesh is really going to be interesting. What's going to happen to perhaps some of the cash that people were trying to put together? It's interesting to get your views. Prasenjit Bose, leftist economist, is with us as well. Adarsh Shastri, spokesperson and MLA of the Aam Aadmi Party. Kejriwal today said the whole thing was a scam, and we have to figure out why he thinks it's a scam. We're also going to be hearing in a little later from Mr. Sridhar GV, who's the chairman of All India Gems and Jewellery Trade Federation, and from Abhiyaan. But we'll come to all of that in just a couple of minutes. All right, before I come to the long-term gains, because we do need to talk this thing through and we need to see, you know, how that actually works out. Today and this week, GVL, you will agree that for the vast majority of people, right now they're obviously focusing on the pain because it's been a really, really tough 2 or 3 days. You know, people's standing in queues for hours and in front of banks, in front of ATMs, and sometimes the poorest of the poor are really taking the biggest brunt of this because they don't have banking. The rich can actually use credit cards, but for the poor, they don't have access to all of that. So it's been a painful process, and I think a lot of people are asking whether the execution could have been better.
With this being a very sudden move as a frontal attack against black money and corruption, this could not have been done involving large number of bankers, employees, and so on and so forth. It had to be, the information had to be in the possession of a very few so that it comes out as a surprise. And because it's a big surprise, you have seen the impact of it that is felt all across the country, across all sectors. And by the way, in the first 2.5 days, nearly 10 crore people have already availed some facility or other at the banks. So
you're saying because secrecy had to be maintained, and you know what a secret is, that if you have more than 2 people, you've got to kill somebody to make sure it is still a secret. So because secrecy had to be maintained,
that's paramount.
More preparation couldn't have been done. Well, there are some aspects of that which we will come to and we'll draw. Can I just ask you one question as an aside before I go to everyone else? BJP had no idea of this?
Absolutely.
Including no. BJP in Uttar Pradesh had no idea of this?
Absolutely no.
No cashing in of 500 and 1,000 rupee notes?
No, absolutely no. And actually 5 minutes before, let me give you my personal experience.
And tell me that.
Yeah, absolutely. 5 minutes before the address, I got to know there was a national address by the Honorable Prime Minister. I thought this could be something related to the terrorism or problems at the LOC.
Okay.
And it came to me as a big surprise. I was outside and I heard it on telephone.
Okay. Well, Tom Bardakan, the short-term issue first, and then I will spend, I want to spend time on both, the short-term pain and then also the long-term issues on this.
Well, the basic issue is, they said it's a secret issue, and then what we heard in public domain, that the planning was there for 6 months. The ATMs are in the shape that they are. Be what it may, that we heard this comment that even 100 rupees could have been fed into the system and the system could have been kept alive. All that apart, I am into one very simple thing. Here's a surgical operation, which is what they have used the word. It's not the Congress party.
Yeah.
The surgical operation was intended on a patient. The operation is successful, but the patient is dead. The doctors don't leave the field. They don't fly off to Japan.
To be, well, hang on.
Yeah.
I know you're mixing a metaphor. The patient's not exactly dead. The patient's had a painful 2 days.
Today,
A lot of times when you have an
infant
operation,
is dead in
if you do a
Mahim.
knee, if you go in for a knee
Mahim,
replacement right now,
Vikram.
Tom, if you go in for a hip replacement right now, you'll have a very painful 2-3 days. You're not dead. I mean, a
Patients
couple
have
of people.
literally died. Today there was a kid
Yeah.
a few hours back in Mahim. An infant 3-year-old is dead. 2 more casualties. There's been looting in Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, their own state, which is controlled by their state.
Okay.
A ration as a shop has been looted.
Okay.
And the prices, just let me complete, salt have shot up. What is happening in this
there is a
country?
lot of rumor mongering that's going on.
No, but
there are a lot
point
of
is,
vested
salt
interests.
have to do with the
There are a lot of
currency
vested
notes. I'm still
interests.
failing to understand.
Somewhere down the line, something is linked. What's happening?
Salt?
Today, you go to a shop asking for something, they say, do you want salt? I mean, which is amazing.
No,
And
I think
then-
salt, I'm just coming from a shop. Salt is available at the original retail prices. How many trucks of salt you want to buy, just let me know.
And-
I think it's
we
available
digress.
everywhere
We
in Delhi,
digress.
everywhere
Can I
in the
just ask you,
country.
and I'm going to come to the other politicians, and I'm also going to some of my reporters. The substantive point that both of them are making, right? One is saying you could have done this a lot better. He's saying that if secrecy had to be maintained, we couldn't have done it any better. So weigh in on this. Which side of the scales are you on?
See, secrecy has nothing to do with preparedness in terms of pushing a large supply of 100 rupee notes and new 500 rupee notes, because these are the 2 denominations the poor people are demanding, right? Why couldn't they have done that? And I'll give you, Vikram, another health analogy. It's this whole economy is like a body. There was a cancer of black money. It needed radiotherapy. What they've done is chemotherapy. A lot of small cells are getting destroyed.
Yes, okay, fine. Could you have done it in a slightly different? Can I just do a quick snap poll of the audience, by the way? How many of you have experienced a significant amount of pain in the last 2 days?
And grudge it.
Okay,
Please
fine.
let them say.
Now, so not everyone experienced pain. How many of you in this audience would still welcome the step that has been taken? Wow, that's really interesting.
That's what a
That's
lot of
really
people,
interesting. This is
lot
a-
of people have
this
been
is a
put
Delhi
to
audience, so Mr.
inconvenience,
Kejriwal
but then
might
they
be
are
one-
saying it. This is in national interest. We are willing to put up with this little inconvenience because it's going to cleanse our economic system. It's actually a surgical
actually-
strike against the corrupt and the black money holders, and the common
can
man
I-
is
so
happy
can I
about
give a
it.
Surgical
rider-
operation
So
and the
can I just
common
give a
man.
rider? Can I
It
just
is
give a
not
rider
the
to that? Can I
black
give a rider to
marketeers.
that? The rider would be, and I suspect if we throw it back to them, yes, I think the reason why all of them are saying they're welcoming it is because they hope
Yes.
and they pray
Yes.
that actually black money will be wiped out and that the
Absolutely.
rich and the people who are doing Hawala are not going to somehow be able through subterfuge to get away.
No,
Then they
you've
will
seen
resent
how
it.
people
Vikram, you
are
should
burning
ask-
Then they will
currency.
resent it. Okay, hang on.
Vikram, you should also
All
ask-
of you welcomed this. Okay? How many of you would stop welcoming it if the black money guys and the Hawala guys somehow got away with it? All of you, I assume.
And
They
Vikram,
will not get
Vikram, you
away.
should
They will not get away
Please,
because
fine. So that's
even in
exactly
the
the
voluntary
long-term game.
please
disclosure
ask them
scheme-
another question. Do they expect that the nexus between big business and politics, cash funding of election, if it continues, will they be happy?
Okay, we can't do
know
everything by an opinion poll with hands.
That's the surgical strike remains to be done.
Okay, so it's an interesting, this is an unscientific snap poll, but it's an indication that for the nation, that's what the Prime Minister said actually when he started making his speech, people for the sake of the country are willing to make sacrifices and if necessary, provided the long-term benefits come through, which I'm going to come back to that. Let me just weigh in from some of my other guests out there. Surendra Bhadoria of the Bahujan Samaj Party, among the people who've been speaking very strongly against this, there is short-term pain, but do you think it's justified because of the possible benefits going forward?
Well, let me specify that there are 2 issues involved in this entire decision the Prime Minister has taken. Number one, that he is trying to say that black money generated for terrorism and for other purposes, like the drug mafia and who are very active in this. Will it really be able to check, and who have been the beneficiaries of all this? Number one. Number two, in our view, it has been to divert the public opinion. The government, which has failed to fulfill the promises to the farmers, to the unemployed youth particularly, 2 crore jobs annually, and also of bringing back, they said this is a $4 trillion economy, we will bring back same amount of money and put 15 lakh rupees into each citizen's account, which they have failed to do so. So they thought that they will divert the attention. So therefore our point is that the drug mafia, this is all in Punjab. Whose government is there? They have not been able to check it, and they have been there for almost
they've taken a step. Mr. Bhadoria, can I be slightly, at the risk of being slightly uncharitable right now, is the Bahujan Samaj Party particularly perturbed because of the possible implication of all of this for the Uttar Pradesh elections? And my friend Sharad Pradhan had a very interesting article, which I'm sure you've read, as to the fact that, according to him, ticket aspirants have been asked to now get some of that money back in again. I want to know how you would react to this particular statement. He says that all that money which they put earlier is now reasonably worthless. They've all been called in and saying you might have to put some of that money back in again.
Well, let me say this, that this is not for the Indian black money and parallel economies of $4 trillion as Indian economy is. So what is he trying to say, that this $4 trillion was with us? This is laughable, and I can only say this much. It is laughable. It is not even, let me say this, that people who support the Bahujan Samaj Party are the Dalits and the poor and marginal people who have no money, who are today standing in the queues, in the villages, in the rural townships, and also in the urban centers of UP. So therefore, we are the ones who are suffering the brunt of this whole exercise, and therefore we are opposed to it.
No, the extent of opposition of a political party is directly proportional to the extent of hit they have taken as a result of this surgical strike. I think Mamata Banerjee, Ms. Mayawati, Mulayam Singh Yadav, Congress Party, these are the parties, including Arvind Kejriwal. He has stopped giving his details about his finances. Aam Aadmi Party is no longer transparent. They have stopped a lot of money. They are not speaking for the common man today.
Indication that this was a political move and nothing against black.
No, it was not intended against you. But you are the affected party.
The Bharatiya Janata Party, he says he is targeted political parties.
No,
and that's the truth.
You have come out with this truth.
Let me assure him that this is a target on political parties, which is
why
their agenda.
are they why is political parties being targeted?
Is he saying
if it is strike against black money, why is it a targeting of political parties unless the political parties have black money?
No, that's the mistake. They have targeted, and you're going to see in the election.
I'm just trying to understand
in
this.
Uttar Pradesh, the people are going to speak. It's not the
why
political
is it a targeting of political parties?
The people of this country are going to speak, and watch out.
Tom. If cash is being banned or legal as not being legal tender anymore, why is it a targeting of political parties unless those political parties were sitting on trunks and sacks and rooms and mansions and cellars filled with unaccounted for money, which is now worthless?
Assumptions. If any
if it's wrong, then political parties are not being targeted. They should be happy.
It is an assumption they've gone on, thinking that they will win elections in Uttar Pradesh by this surgical operation.
All right, can I just get Adar Shastri? Before I come back to all of you, Adar Shastri of the Aam Aadmi Party. Arvind Kejriwal today said today that this is a scam. He also asked for a rollback of this entire exercise. And that, I have to tell you, fills a lot of us with some fear. What do you mean by rollback? It means everyone's going to stand in queues again to give back their new notes and get back old notes. Is that what you want by a rollback? And how exactly is it a scam?
Vikram, so let me. So if I've very patiently heard all my other friends, and you patiently give me 1 minute to make my point. Without others butting in. I have just 2-3 points to make. Number one. 97% of transactions in the country are based on cash. 86% of the currency of this cash is 500 and 1000 rupee denominations. overnight, midnight, Prime Minister Modi ji has withdrawn this 86% currency from the system. What has happened as a result? The people, the common people of this country from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from east to west, are now left with no practically usable cash with them anymore. There has been no thought behind this. The finance minister today came and said we are monitoring the situation. The fact is, out of the 200,000 ATMs, there is no cash available in most of them. At the bank branches, you yourself have seen and shown in your visuals, the queues are horrendous.
The
Thousands
10
of
crore
people, hundreds
people
of
have
people. That is
already
point number
accessed
one.
the banks
Point number one.
for one or other
Point number two.
transaction. And
Point
why
number two.
is a
Point number two.
self-proclaimed
Let me complete.
crusader against
Let me
corruption?
complete. Let me
Kejriwal?
complete. I heard
why
you.
is he
I heard
defending?
you.
Why is he defending the corrupt and the black money holders today? That's the principal question.
Okay.
I heard you.
Why is
I
he
heard
wanting
you.
to sustain
One at a time. One at a time,
I-
gentlemen. One at a time. One at a time.
Let me complete. Let me complete.
That you don't
Let me
listen to the
complete.
others.
Let me complete.
Yeah, carry
No,
on.
no, you
carry
are
on,
not
Adarsh.
listening, unfortunately. I've been hearing all of you. So this is point number one. Point number two, which is very simple, and please hear this out very carefully. The total amount of deposits in all banks put together, and these are figures of the RBI. As per RBI, in quarter 4 of the last financial year, approximately 95,000 crores was deposited. Quarter 1 of 2016, 102,000 crores was deposited.
Yes.
In quarter two of 2016, which is July, August, September, this average of 100,000 crores moved to 664,000 crores. Out of which Mr. Jaitley said, correctly so, that areas for the 7th pay commission account for 32,000 crores. And my learned friend would also say 65,000 crores is money collected on behalf of IDS.
Okay.
Even if I subtract that, at an average of 100,000 crores per quarter, what is the sudden spurt of these deposits going to
There has not been a sudden
532,000
spurt.
crores
I don't know what
in quarter
numbers you are
2?
basing on.
Okay.
You have.
These
Aam
are
Aadmi
the numbers
Party
of
has
the
a
RBI,
tendency
and you have to
pull out
these
numbers from
numbers
its hat
are
for the sake of
happening.
spreading
Please
lies.
look at, please
And
look at the
I think
RBI
Honorable
website. Please
Finance
look at the
Minister is
RBI
on record
website
saying
and
there is
find
no
out
big
these numbers
spurt.
for
Okay,
yourself.
Adarsh,
in 1
The
month.
deposits.
Adarsh,
I think you can't-
Adarsh,
Deposits are of
Q4,
quarter 1,
Hang on,
quarter 2.